Hello, it is 12 noon in Jerusalem. It's 3 a.m. in Las Vegas. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain Verjee. You're watching CNN, the world's news leader, and this is World One live from London.
The families of Israeli terror victims are trying to block the release of more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. They're taking their case to Israel's Supreme Court as Israel prepares to free a first wave of 477 inmates. In exchange, the Palestinian group Hamas is to free the captured Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. The first stage of the swap is expected to take place early this week. Kevin Flower has been following the preparations. He joins us now live from Jerusalem. Kevin, tell us a little bit about what kind of legal standing these families have in Supreme Court.
Well, Monita, in cases like this where Israel in the past has released Palestinian prisoners who've been convicted of attacks on Israeli citizens, what happens is there's a 48-hour period.
Okay, Kevin, thank you for that. Kevin Flower reporting to us there from Jerusalem. And we should mention that we did show some video there of one of the Palestinian prisoners, Marwan Barghouti there. He is not on the list of those that will be free. Let's see what newspapers around the world are saying about this. Here in the UK, the Daily Telegraph has the headline, "A lucky escape in Libya." The comment piece says, the fact that even if the fighting ends soon, Gaddafi and some of his sons continue to remain at large suggests that the new Libyan administration will not have an easy ride as it embraces the challenge of democratic reform. In the U.S., the Washington Post's headline is "Sirte suffers in war's crossfire," referring to the humanitarian crisis there. The paper says, although the autocratic leader, Muammar Gaddafi, was toppled in August and the world has recognized a new pro-democracy government, the war isn't over. And finally, in Australia, the Northern Territory News has an opinion piece with the headline, "Libyan jostling spells trouble for West's democracy plans." It goes on to say, Libya may yet turn out to be one of the worst own goals in Western diplomacy. But 7 months later, the fighting still continues, and civilians of the Gaddafi stronghold of Sirte are dying. Opposition leaders are crying foul over Liberia's election results, claiming ballot stuffing helped push the country's Nobel Prize-winning president out front. Incumbent Ellen Johnson Sirleaf received almost 45% of the vote, falling short of the 50% needed for an outright win and setting the stage for a runoff in November. Christian Sirfoy, who has been following the story from Lagos. Christian, the opposition party is saying that they don't trust the National Election Commission and they're citing irregularities in the vote count. What kind of irregularities are we talking about? The world of motor racing is mourning the loss of one of its top drivers after a horrific crash at the Las Vegas IndyCar Series finale. Two-time Indianapolis 500 winner Dan Wheldon died during a high-speed fiery wreck involving more than a dozen cars on Sunday. 3 other drivers were injured in the pileup. The British IndyCar champion was in line to win $5 million if he had taken the checkered flag. Well, for more on the story, CNN Sports' Carlos Diaz is with us now from Las Vegas in Nevada. And Carlos, is there any more indication as to what happened at this track?
Well, basically, you have 34 cars, which is a larger field than in the Indianapolis 500, racing on a track almost half the size.
See, the difficulty thing with this, when we look at what kind of questions need to be asked right now, is obviously are the speeds just too high? But that's the whole, I guess, nature of motorsport racing, is that you're going to be racing in high speeds. But if we look at the differences between IndyCar racing as well as, say, Formula One, what are the safety differences that we're looking at here? Because it seems as though Formula One has higher safety standards, or do they, when you compare it to the Indy races?
Well, but also, too, with Indy races, it's basically, Dan Wheldon said it best, you put your foot on the gas and you don't...
Women are demonstrating in the Yemeni capital Sana'a. It follows the death of a female protester in the city of Taiz on Sunday. The women are demanding the UN step in and impose sanctions on the president, Ali Abdullah Saleh. They also want him tried by the International Criminal Court. CNN's Mohammed Jamjoon has more. He joins us now live from Abu Dhabi. Mohammed, is this a different scene that we're seeing now in Sana'a with women taking to the streets? You have people here, some activists are, they're quoted as saying that the government security forces, or the fact that the shooting of a woman is a sign that government security forces will not stop shooting, even if they are women. And it begs the question, what kind of defense does the public have in Yemen at this point? Is there a sense that there is really, that they have a real fight against the government? Sports news is being dominated by the death of Dan Wilden in Las Vegas. Don Riddell joins us now with more details on that, Don.
Thanks very much, Monita. Tributes are pouring in for the Indy car racer Dan Wilden, who was killed on Sunday in Las Vegas. The final race of the sport later on.
All right, thank you very much. The devastating floods are taking a huge toll on Thailand and its people. The government blames 297 deaths on the weather, which caused the worst flooding Thailand has seen in half a century. So far, more than 8.5 million people have been affected across more than 60 provinces. But it seems that Bangkok may be spared the worst of the flooding. Well, let's get the very latest on the conditions in Thailand. Let's go to Ivan Cabrera at the World Weather Center. Ivan.
So the flood wall in Bangkok is 2.5 meters tall.